Hi everyone. Today we have a very special interview that is across countries. With us here we have Elaine from 𝐘𝐬𝐿 Singapore, who is a member of the YC group. Hi Elaine.
Hello. Hi Shin.
Hi. And we also have special guests from all the way from Australia. 𝐘𝐬𝐂, he is the partner of KST Partners, a very experienced partner. Say hi to us, 𝐘𝐬𝐂.
Hello, everyone.
Yeah, greetings from Melbourne, yeah?
Yes.
Yeah, and also we have a very renowned F&B business owner, Tagi. He is the owner of STG Group. Say hi to us.
Hello.
Yeah, you have how many restaurants over how many countries now?
Oh, we have 118 outlets over 4 countries, which is UK, Malaysia, New Zealand, and Australia. Yeah.
Wow, fantastic. Yeah. So today we gather everyone together to share our views about how is the whole COVID-19 virus affecting everyone and how is this crisis. Some people say this crisis is once in 100 years, and we are so lucky to be able to experience it. And also the worst ever since World War II. So in the first, let's share how is this stimulus package in the different countries across Malaysia, Singapore, Australia, New Zealand, and UK. So we'll start with Singapore. Elaine, maybe you can share with us what is the stimulus package available for the Singapore SMEs out there.
Okay, so for Singapore has just entered into circuit breaker mode, which is our definition of a soft lockdown in Singapore. So we have had our second round of stimulus package, the latest being just last week on the 6th of April. Under the stimulus package, under the combined stimulus package, what the Singapore government is focusing on, firstly, is to save jobs. Then for businesses, it's in terms of helping businesses with their cash flow, cost savings, as well as availability of credit for businesses. So in terms of savings jobs, we have this job support scheme that was announced, which is mainly to help businesses, employers retain the workers. So under this scheme, the government is funding 75% of the wages during this circuit breaker period in April. So government will pay 75% on the first 4,600 for every local employee. Then for the subsequent 9 months, they will co-fund between 25% to 75% of the monthly wages up to 4,600 as well. So of course, under this co-funding, the aviation, accommodation and tourism sectors that are directly hit by the COVID-19 will get 75% funding for the remaining 8 months, food services 50%, and all the other firms 25%. So this jobs support scheme is basically helping to save jobs, hoping that companies do not need to, can then retain these workers. So in terms of, I'll focus more on businesses. So in terms of businesses, it's helping with the cash flow and costs, like I mentioned earlier. So it comes in a few forms. There's property tax rebates between 30 to 100% for 2020, which the property owners are required to pass on the rebates to the tenants. There's rental waivers only for the government properties, between 2 to 3 months of rental waiver, 3 months for hawker stall holders and markets, 2 months for other commercial and non-residential tenants in government properties. Then other things is like this income tax payments deferment. You still need to pay tax, but it's being deferred for 3 months. Government fees and charges, they wouldn't increase it this year. Then where other cash flow will be corporate income tax rebate up to 15,000, waiver of the foreign worker levy in April during the circuit breaker period, as well as a foreign worker levy rebate of 750,000.
Well, sounds like quite a large package.
Quite a large package. It's Then furthermore, for larger companies, you'll think that this may not be enough. So they're also helping with credit. So like there's the enterprise financing schemes. So they can give loans up to 10 million. And the loan is actually guaranteed up to 90% by the government for up to 1 million. Then, and also a temporary bridging loan as well, up to 5 million with, again, 90% government risk sharing.
Mm.
So these are basically the, and there's also other grants for the sector base, for aviation, for tourism, for F&B, for the transport sector as well. So it's actually very pretty broad based. There's also other things that covers the self-employed as well, not forgetting the self-employed, for families, for individuals, which I won't go into detail here.
Yeah.
This we're focusing very much on businesses. But it's, in a nutshell, is very broad-based. So they're trying to help everyone. It helps that Singapore has accumulated quite a very healthy surplus and reserves over the past years. And what we heard from the government is they're prepared to do even more if they had to extend this circuit breaker period, which we all hope not to. But looking at what is happening around the world, it may be extended. We just had the number of cases coming in at more than 300 cases of coronavirus just last evening.
Yeah, thank you, Elaine.
Right.
Over to 𝐘𝐿. How about Australia? What's happening there?
Oh, okay. Elaine looks like Singapore's extensive. I think Australia quite similar to Singapore, but it targeting different sector. As you all know, Australia is a social welfare country. I think among Malaysia, Singapore, and Australia is the only one which is have a very good social welfare system. So the government is total package currently announced, also three stages of a package. The third round announced a week. Total package is now 320 billion Australian dollars. That is about 16.5% of our GDP. The package is all centered around workers. Australian government pay a lot of attention to workers, because if the workers don't get a job, they will go and get social welfare. So they will put a lot of burden on the social welfare. So what they do is, of the $320 billion packages, a large proportion is targeting towards SME, small medium enterprise, like where in Singapore you call it circuit breaker. Here we call it job seeker. Yeah. Hold on, somebody tried to call in. I got to decline that.
Oh, so job seeker.
Yeah. Basically, it's like every staff, which is a citizen or a PR, is entitled to get $3,000 a month.
Wow.
Contribution from the government to the business to pay the staff.
Okay. Wow, that's a lot.
Hear me?
Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah.
Hello. Okay. Sorry, somebody tried to call me. Can you see me now?
I cannot see you.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Can you see me now? Oh,
yeah.
That's a problem with this system, right? Somebody call you and then it just break up.
Yeah.
So I was saying that the total package is 320 billion, and a large proportion of that is targeting SME. The main purpose is to get the employer to keep their staff. So how that works is the JobKeeper scheme is to pay each eligible employee, only PR and citizen eligible to come into this scheme. People like Tadi can join the scheme. So anyone with a turnover of 1 billion or below, as long as they can prove that their sales is dropped by 30% or more, they can join this scheme. So it's giving $1,500 Australian dollar per fortnight to each eligible employee. There's no up limit. So a lot of our clients are going to join this scheme. The main purpose is to stop people from going into Centrelink, going into social welfare, and also to keep the employer and employee relationship, whereby they are encouraging, the term they use is hibernate. They encourage the businesses to hibernate, and then when everything is over, they can come back in a strong way. So they got the correct the number of staff, the number of all the infrastructure, everything to ready to go. Now that's the federal government. The difference between federal government, probably Singapore and here is we also have the state government. So the state government also coming with a package where they waive all the payroll taxes. So Agi may have got his refund. I got my refund for my payroll tax we paid since July last year.
We got our refund as well, yeah.
Good, well done. So the next 3 months, all exempted, and then come July, they will look at the situation again. And also the state government also will give every small business, SME, a $10,000 grant. So as long as you got a business, you're affected, you can apply for a $10,000 state government grant. And these apply to, not to Tagi because he's too big. They are applying to people with a 650,000 or below salary. So if your total salary is 650,000 below, you can get the state government $10,000 grant. Also, there's another level of government called council, the local council. Like City of Melbourne come up with a small grant of $5 million to help small business to do their online menu, to do their website and all these things. So because now you cannot, like F&B cannot do sit in, they can do take away. So they're helping people to come up with an online menu and all things like that. So I think Australia-wise is more SME are being looked after, and then they also, like Singapore, we have this loan where SME can go to the bank and no very minimum documentation, and the bank will give you a $250,000 straight away overdraft facility. Now, you want more, you talk, right? So the government would also come up with a guarantee scheme like Singapore. The government will guarantee up to a certain level of loan for businesses who require this to tie them over. So we also have special grant for airline. Airline industry is getting special grant from the government. At the moment, it's about $1 billion. They are asking for more. So Australia is quite a rich country. So we expect them to come up with more package.
Yeah.
So basically, that's a big a quick rundown on the packages here.
Yeah. Thanks, 𝐘𝐿. How about Tagi? Can you share with us, because you are in so many countries, what are your views of all the stimulus package available?
Okay. I'm not as detailed as all your accountants here, but I can tell you a little bit about what we are getting for New Zealand. For New Zealand, example is that since the 1st of March, the government has already contributed into we already received the money already from the government to pay forward the payroll. For every full-time employees, we get 585 Kiwi dollars a week to maintain the staff. So it adds up to be $2,500, I think 2,000 something a month. For part-timers, we get 350 a week for every employee as well. So for New Zealand dollars, for New Zealand, basically they already forward all their 12 weeks payroll into our company. So we are supposed to pay it out on a weekly basis. So everything is like quite similar. The employees do get a pay cut, but they still get a weekly income flow of money to their bank accounts. That's for New Zealand. Then for the UK, what our company gets is we get approximately 80% wage subsidy for all our employees, full-timers, 80%. Then on top of that, in UK, there's a special tax called business rates, where the business, example, when you lease a property for doing a business for 100,000 a year by annum rental, you're supposed to pay 40,000 on top of it to the government in the form of tax on a yearly basis, which is called business rates tax. The government has already cancelled the tax system for this period of time. So that's what we get for both New Zealand and the United Kingdom. But I have to say, actually in New Zealand, actually it's pretty good, because actually the payment came in very quickly and without no question asked. Basically, you just submit your last month's payroll, straight away it hits your bank account for the next 12 weeks. Yeah, so that's what we get.
Wow. And you are allowed to do pay cuts as well,
We're allowed to do pay cuts, but 80%. You have to maintain 80%, 20% pay cut.
Okay. Oh, interesting. We are based in Malaysia, and I think in comparison, our stimulus package is maybe the most lacking one. The wage subsidy that we get the most is ringgit 1,002, and that's if we have less than 75 people. Then if more than 75, we get a range from 800 to 600 ringgit. So that's, and then if we claim for this wage subsidy, we can't do any pay cuts. We can't retrench as well for those in this group. So I think many Malaysian SMEs are facing tremendous difficulties now. Huge problems. I think you know also, Taki, because you got business.
Very tough. Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be tough. It's tough. And the loans that we have here, the SRF loan is up to 1 million. And the bank's also making it tough to apply. So cash flow wise is very tight here. I really like what's being done in New Zealand and also Australia. I think the hibernating is a very good advice actually for now, something for many business owners to consider. Okay. Yeah, so okay, thank you. So now let's look at how all these how SMEs are faring in all the different countries. This time we start with Taki first, because you have businesses in so many different countries. For your business in each area, how do you find the difference? How you're faring in each country? What is the business sentiment like also, Taki?
Well, I think it's Australia now. It is still very quiet. We're still in lockdown. We don't see us coming out of lockdown so soon. The cases are coming down, but I think the government just extended till 11th of May, right, 𝐾𝐿, the lockdown in Victoria.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wow.
Then for New Zealand wise, I think the lockdown is supposed to finish on the 23rd of April, and things seems to be getting better there. The amount of cases is also dropped down tremendously. I think it was only 20 plus yesterday, I think, of new cases. So that one we expect it to come back, the first country to come back to normal, we expect for New Zealand.
Okay.
Yeah. UK, I think it's still a long way to go. Yeah, UK, I think they haven't hit their peak there. And even in the cities that we are operating in Manchester, there's a lot of cases. So I think UK, you still need a couple of months, maybe 3 to 4 months for things to look a bit better. Then Malaysia, I think you know better. I think Malaysia, the lockdown just got extended as well, right? Yeah. But yeah, it's quite tough at this market. But whatever it is, it's just this virus will definitely go away to what we see. It is always it happened before 100 years. It happened even before that. It's just that we just have to tank through this period of time, maintaining our cash flow, keeping employment ready and ready to get back the economy running when everything's get back to normal. Means we need to hit the ground quickly. That's what I think. Yeah.
Okay, thank you for your sharing. How about Elaine? In Singapore side, how are business owners faring there?
Well, businesses, we've entered the circuit breaker from last week. So then those in the F&B sectors, there's businesses have dropped by more than 90%. So restaurants have to close, but they're still allowed to do deliveries. So you see a lot of food deliveries, a lot of people ordering. The sector that seems to be doing well is probably just the supermarkets, because everybody flocks to the supermarkets. But other than that, everybody has to work from home. Every day we read in the papers that businesses are doing very bad. We have clients coming to us, telling us how some of them have zero sales, especially those events related companies. F&B seems to be still have some businesses, but it's dropped by more than 50% for most of them. And I'm talking about those that does deliveries. Those that are the hardest hits are those that are in the CBD area, because if they were to do deliveries, it's most people are staying away from the CBD area, so they can't do very much deliveries to the housing estates. So those are very hard hit. But of course, we are lucky that the government has come up with very good stimulus package, paying 75% of most of the local employees' salaries to help us get through this circuit breaker period. But now very much is about conserving cash flow, even with enhanced loans, government loans that they're giving out, government sharing the risk of up to 90%. Eventually, the businesses will also have to find a way to pay the loan in future. So a lot of people are taking the situation to see how they can manage cost. Some of our clients have also started to think about ways to pivot. So we have clients that telling us that now they're changing their business model from offline to moving very much online. Some are even from unrelated industries, from even like IT service providers, now decided to move to online retail sales and software development. So you see a lot of thoughts going around on how to survive in this climate.
Thank you. How about 𝐘𝐿 in Australia? You need to unmute.
Yeah. Hey, can I?
Yeah. I think, you need to press. Okay, all right. Okay, yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know why you went to mute. So in Australia, like Taki say, we are not in total lockdown, but the situation is like total lockdown because nobody go and shop. Nobody, if you go to the CBD, even Myer is closed. Myer, they can stay open, but they decided to close because there's just no one walking, no one shopping. So the CBD is probably, Taki, would you agree, only 10% of the normal crowd?
Maximum 15%. Maximum 15%.
10% of the normal crowd in CBD. So you see that every 9 of the 10 shops are closed. So the one that stay open are probably the barber shop. But you still got to comply with the social distancing where you have to be 1.5 meters away from the next person. So all the businesses are suffering. Those who suffer most, and those who are impacted first are F&B and travel industry. Travel industry was the first hit because when Australia closed the border, no one allowed to come in. So the travel industry got a lot of cancellation. Hotel and travel got first hit. Then you have the F&B got hit, and then all related industry like freight forwarding, everyone got hit because their customer are not working, so they have to their operation also got to scale down. But the good thing is construction are allowed to proceed. So you see, construction is in full steam. Every street now is closed for renovation. They are doing the street side. They are doing the road pavement, everything. So you can see construction is very active. But other than construction, and also like Eileen said, supermarket booming. Other than that, everyone is suffering. Everybody is affected. But what I like, what New Zealand did, they actually give the money first. Australia is also, the state government give the money first, but the federal, the earliest you get your money is early May. So a lot of SME have, especially those who got no saving, no bank balances, they can't even pay wages. I just got a call from another F&B client like Dagi, just called me this morning because under the JobKeeper scheme, it says you're supposed to continue paying your employee now. You're supposed to pay them, keep them on your payroll. And then when you lodge your best, for the March best, which I think everyone can lodge from now, from 1st April to end of the month, then they rely on your figure. They give you the cash flow boost. Whatever you deduct from the employee, they give you 3 times of that with a maximum 50,000. Up to June, they give you 50,000 first. And then on top of that, the JobKeeper, the one which I mentioned, 1,500 per fortnight. all those will only kick in early May, early May. So I think timing-wise, Australia is lacking New Zealand. I like New Zealand's model. Give you the money first, and you spend from there. So I believe the government's intention is get business, lie low, hibernate, keep your minimum staff, and we'll pay you the money to tie you over this period. But I think a lot of SME is going to, when the thing is over, quite many of them will not come back. Quite many of them will just collapse. Yeah, especially those without cash flow and those with a not very good relationship with their bank. Now, for those who can get bank funding, are those who are good, you know, they got good record with the bank will straight away give them 250,000, no question asked. But for those who haven't got banking facility, haven't set up relationship with the bank, they are the ones who are going to suffer.
How many SMEs you think will not last, will go bust maybe?
I would say at least 20%. Yeah. The other thing is which come in handy for them is only a few days ago the federal government announced a rental scheme where landlord and tenant got to come to a compromise. So if like for example Tagi's shop closed, one of the shop closed, so he's taking a zero. So the scheme is saying the employer got to reduce the rent by 100%, but out of the 100%, half of it, 50%, Tagi still got to pay over 2 years period. So you don't have to pay your rent, but you pay later. When you come back to operation, you start paying the 50% of the. So 50% will be waived totally. The other 50% you take time to pay me. Yeah.
Wow.
Then
So
another thing that the government. Yeah, another thing that the government did was a lockdown on the leases as well. So basically, every tenant in the shopping center, the landlord cannot evict them for 6 months. So theoretically speaking, you do not need to, even if you don't pay rent, it's mandatory that the landlord cannot evict you. So basically, this brings the shopping center onto the negotiation table with the tenants to give a better deal for the tenants. This is one thing which is good for us. Then as 𝐘𝐿 said, we get the rent. It's a mandatory that the landlord give us the 50% discount. That's on the worst case scenario. You're able to even try to negotiate a better deal with them. Because they're very worried that you 6 months don't pay rent, then suddenly you just wind up your company. They are so very worried about that. Yes.
So in fact, most of your shops, maybe you don't have to pay rent for a few months, or deferred half to later, is it?
Yeah. So basically, like we do not need to. You can, even if you don't pay rent for 6 months, the landlord will not be able to evict you. But this will bring the landlord to the table and negotiate with you. This is like forcing them to sit down with you and cannot don't do anything about it. Yeah.
So basically, at this moment, it's not good to be a landlord.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is the government helping the landlord at all in any way?
No. Each state is different. Like New South Wales, yesterday they announced they are going to waive the land tax. Yeah. If you come to the table and negotiate, give rental rebate to your tenant, the state government will reduce the land tax for you, and then they will give you some discount on the council rate. Victoria has not announced it yet, but we expect Victoria will also do the same.
I'm also wondering, how about the unemployment and retrenchment? Is it happening in Australia as well as Singapore? Maybe Australia?
Yeah, this morning there's a figure come out. They expect the Australian unemployment rate to touch about 10%. At the moment, it's 5.5. So it will touch 10%. But without the JobKeeper scheme, it will actually hit 15%. So JobKeeper is saving half the people from being retrenched, at least half the people from being retrenched. So I think it's a very good scheme. And I think, Tagi, in your business, how many have you retrenched?
I think we stood down around 200 people. Stood down. Yeah.
Yeah. I see the Australian Big Four also already starting to going for unpaid, and
Yes. They are forcing some of their staff to do 2-day work. Yeah.
They were. Okay. I think Singapore not yet, is it?
Okay, so Singapore, not yet, because under the job support scheme, like say the government covers 75% of the salaries for April month. But after April, we do expect to see retrenchments. There's also been talk about it. And that in terms of pay cuts, we're also starting to hear that people are contemplating a 10% pay cut probably from next month onwards. And going back to Australia and New Zealand, so in terms of the job support scheme, the Singapore government is also putting the money into the pockets of the employers first before the end of the month. So we're expecting the monies for the job support scheme to come in this week, so in time to pay the salaries for the end of the month for most companies.
Okay. Well, I think in Malaysia is also one of the worst again. In the 1 month of MCO, we have even directly dealing with certain customers, we have seen a few SMEs, they have closed down already. It's either they've decided it's not worth it, they don't want to do this anymore, or their cash is really not enough to last. So we've seen in Malaysia, quite a few businesses have already made that drastic move to close down because it just cannot sustain. And the stimulus package is nothing much to help in sustaining as well. And that's the reality. So if you say Australia 20% business will close down, I think Malaysia with the number will be higher, 30-40%. And so I want to take this opportunity to talk to more Malaysian business owners. I think we have to be even more prudent. I think many business owners are not well prepared for these times. And when the first announcement of the MCO, everyone was still okay, Then in the second period of MCO, people start to stress. Now the third MCO extension, everyone is in a tsunami mode already. And I think there are talks also about further extension. So Malaysian business owners must really be even more prudent now and look at conserving cash further. Okay, now final, what is everyone's advice on how to survive this crisis? Like what Tagi said, this will be over too. Just that how do we, those who can survive, the last man standing will be standing. So, but unfortunately, a lot of businesses may be taken out. So what are your advices on how to survive? We start with Tagi.
My advice to business owners, especially in the F&B and retail, is basically you just have to manage two of your main costs, which is your payroll expenses and also your rental expenses. Because these two items are the one you can actually negotiate and control at this moment of time. That is the most important for F&B, what I think now. Do keep engaging with the landlords, to keep negotiation with them, and do engage with your staff as well. Because this too, I think in Australia and New Zealand takes up around 40 to 50% of our total expense. So this is the main item you have to control and watch out very carefully. Because your food cost is actually in hibernation mode. So this is the two main items.
That's good advice. How about any pivoting or any new innovations, anything like that to look at?
For us, we do deliveries like what most F&B companies does. But I think now more importantly is the price point is very important as well. Even to the consumer, we need to find a way where cost is reduced so that the consumer can get better value even when they do home deliveries and whatever it is. Because at this moment of time, I think not many people want to spend much money.
Yeah, so it's how to add more value.
Yeah,
value for money. True. Agreed. Okay, thank you, Tagi. How about Elaine? What's your advice to business owners out there?
Okay, so in Singapore, I think similar to across all businesses, the main cost is salaries and rental as well. So at the same time, we must also be in a position, like what 𝐘𝐿 mentioned, that to be in a hibernation mode and to be able to be in a better state to recover when this whole COVID-19 passes, which it eventually will. It's a matter of time. So the important thing is how can my advice is to look for ways to manage costs in such a way that is sustainable, even at the reduced level of businesses. Conserve your cash flow, make use of the government funding or the government schemes, whether it's a job support scheme or even the credit provided by the government. So the SME working capital loan up to 1 million, if you're able to apply for it, do apply for it. Having said that, the loan is also only given to via what the government call viable business. That means businesses that are still running at a profit, at least before this COVID-19. So, so if for businesses that are already running at a loss before this COVID-19, it's unlikely that they can survive, and they won't be able to make use of this the SME working capital loan as well. But for the rest that has been profitable before this COVID-19, then they can make full use of the government support schemes to help them tide over this period. And at the same time, with the staff that they have, rather than letting them go to sort of like pick up on training, increase how to then train them in a better state to increase their efficiency, productivity, that when this whole thing recovers, they're in a better state to ride out and recover very quickly, to bounce back and recover very quickly from this. Yeah, that's my advice to business.
Thanks, Elaine. How about 𝐘𝐿?
Oh, I think Taki had actually pinpointed for F&B, the real thing they need to do is to control the wages and also the rent. So as Taki said, rent and wages in Australia is the biggest item. Item it can be. Taki was very conservative, 50%. I think some of the business up to 60%. And then plus your cost of sale, 35%. So the F&B business in Australia are on very tiny margin. So I think the advice for SMB now is, as the government put it, hibernate. Try to apply for your, the SME guarantee loan. The government is helping the bank put in a lot of cash flow to the bank and ask the bank to loan it out to SME, and government will guarantee 50% of the loan. So now the bank has got, I think it's $100 billion to loan out. So they are knocking on all the SME door, especially those with the already got established relationship with the bank. The bank is coming and say, do you want the loan? You want the loan? I don't know. Taki, have you been approached?
Not yet.
Yeah, I think they will approach you. I think they are trying to loan out $100 billion of government fund to the SMB. So also for those in distress, the government is saying that, okay, we don't want you to go under. We want you to stay afloat, try to reduce. So the government is saying insolvency is not, they are not encouraging it. Only for those really bad business who can't tide through this 1 month, where all the money is going to come in early May. So for the rest of the 2-3 weeks, if they got no money, they are saying to these people, just try and get some money, and then by May you get some money back. So the JobKeeper scheme, the cash flow bowl scheme, all coming in. It's just this timing. I think I like as I said, I like the New Zealand case where they give money first. Even Singapore, they give you the money first, you pay for the salary. Australia, I don't think they thought of it when they come up with the scheme. But they are very generous.
Yeah, you pay first, then they get back.
Yeah, but they are very generous. They're giving $750 a week. I think the average, that is about the average weekly earning of Australian, $750 a week. So I think based on my observation, if they can conserve cash, they can manage their JobKeeper scheme well, only keep the staff necessary to tie them over this. By the way, JobKeeper is for 6 months. Singapore is only 1 month, your salary thing. Elaine?
The 75% is for 1 month. Then subsequently, there's a further 8 months job supports. but it drops to 25% for most companies, then 50% for F&B and 75% for the aviation and accommodation, tourism-related industries.
So our job
Malaysia
offer doesn't matter which industry you're in, as long as you qualify, they will support you for 6 months. Okay, so like Tagi, you enjoy the 6 month support. Yeah. So and the other thing is the state government also come in the picture. State government scheme is also going to last for about 6 months. So payroll rebate, in fact payroll exemption, total exemption, the grant, 10,000 grant, and then they also come up with the job scheme where any displaced worker can register for the scheme. They will put you into supermarket, into health industry, where need a lot of frontline people. So government also come up with this job training, online job training, where you can go on a 3 weeks, 6 weeks quick training and change your job into nursing aid, into HK assistant, things like that. Yeah. So I think overall, Australia, I think we will get through this quite okay. Yeah. Except for those who are suffering, who are not, those what we call on the edge. Those SME on the edge, they're already actually not doing well. Those are the ones who will fall over. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So for myself, for Malaysian business owners, I think this is a good sharing session for those of you who are watching. Because we can see that our situation is a lot worse than other countries. So therefore, we need to really plan for the worst. Step one, we need to assess, business owners in Malaysia need to know exactly how much cash all of us have, all of you have. What is the worst situation? And even our wage subsidy program is only for 3 months, and there are many requirements. And when it will be paid, also we are uncertain yet. So therefore, I think Malaysian business owners, the more you need to go on survival mode. And also for those who still have a lot of money in debtors or in stocks, have to think of all ways to be as liquid as possible. Okay, so that's all. Thank you very much, everyone, for your sharing. I think it's very valuable to all SME owners out there, because everyone is really figuring out how to get through. So your insights and advice have been very helpful. Thank you very much. Thanks.
Thank you.
Okay,
Thank you.
see ya. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.